the hustle mentality runs through Detroit.
Yeah, no doubt.
But
terrible.
What? I mean, you know what? We real people. Wait a minute. We was just wait.
I was in market.
Let me tell you something. We was just talking about this. This is a town where you got people who like
all my clients are innocent of these accusations and allegations.
This is a town where people own homes, own cars, and don't know their social security number. They've never filled out a job application. I've got friends that 800 credit scores. They don't even know they have, but the thing is, they don't even know they have an 800 credit score because they pay for everything in cash. I just described a couple of friends and family. They went to buy a car. They was like, I just cash it out. And the man was like, oh, let's just see this. Like, nah, I just cash it out. And then the man ran the credit. He's like, you know, you have an 825. What's that? He's like, you can get the car with no money down. And then Cubs was like, but one day I got to pay for it. I might as well pay for it. He was like, so. Then he was like, well, because you know, in my line of work, we chicken goes south tomorrow. I might run into GQ tonight. It might not be in a pot of soul. No, we just need to pay cash for this now.
Not to discredit the hustlers all over. It's urban. New York, California, you know.
Shout out to the New York hustlers.
Appreciate y'all, but you know, I'm telling you, it's a certain type of, what you call it? It's a certain type of
we got a certain breed.
fever in this motherfucker.
I wouldn't say this because, you know,
generational. It's a generational thing here.
It is because it's new. But also, just Detroit men date differently than other men. I would say.
Oh, we gotta get into that. So, you open it up. Go ahead and please elaborate.
Right,
Esquire.
From the personal standpoint or lawyer standpoint.
Both. I mean, I'm a lawyer, so, but yeah, I mean, I just noticed like, and I've heard this from my friends too who live out of state or who moved out of state. Like, Detroit men go all out. They really do. Like, you might only get one good date out of them because they ain't got money like that, but that's gonna be a great date.
Oh, that's us. We gonna do it.
Yeah.
We gonna do it. I mean, yes. We.
At that end of that week.
Yeah, you might not see him another day for another.
He gotta get another lift. He gotta get him a lift. He gotta get another lift before he call you.
Right, exactly.
Right, you be like, call me back. He's like, oh, mama, no, you know that day we went on 70 better, but I'm back right now. What you doing? What you doing? I'm about to walk through. I'm good, man. Yeah. That's really the talent. That's how we do it. That's how we do it here. So we get into by 2006 again the reality of a lot of people got locked up in the 80s and 90s. We're seeing the game has changed, hustlers have changed. Unfortunately, now you're dealing with a different quality of criminal.
Yeah.
GQ, you saw the quality of criminal you arresting going down.
Yeah, in the 90s, you know, marijuana was a big thing, and I know Tommy. He got here, you know, he sound bites. Tommy Hodges is nothing personal, homeboy.
Shout out.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad he's back home doing well and shit like that. But
anytime you come home,
and Lewis, they were getting money, man, selling that weed, you know, and we just back then they were getting money. Cocaine money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's in the 90s and the 2000s, I think, right?
People didn't realize how much money people selling marijuana were making. Until guys like Tommy, those cases came, and when the people started going to like, oh my.
Right.
A lot of people in this town smoke weed, obviously.
Right, you know, so that was, and then the early 2000s, and we didn't even, man, we hit a crib over here on Schoolcraft. And I want to say Schoolcraft and I want to say Winthrop.
Was that in 2006?
Yeah, it was close there. And
was it like 98 tons of weed?
No.
Okay, because I had one of those cases.
98 tons?
Yes, and the guy jumped bail right before the feds picked up the case from the state. He was.
I'm sorry, you almost caused me to have. You almost had me to have a hustler's relapse. I was like 98 tons.
A ton over 3,000.
That was 1,000.
2,000.
2,000 pounds. I was like, oh, 98 tons. Oh, Lord help me.
What crew that was?
No, like CT. I was going to say back before we get off track, you talked about New York hustlers, and I know you've been in contact with them. And I don't know if you're following. Shout out to Cavario.
Oh, yeah.
Cavario's doing some great interviews over there on.
We buying some books today after this interview. We're gonna buy some books from him. We're gonna cash app him for sure. I appreciate you, boy. Love you.
Yeah. Cavario, just a stand-up guy, and I love the work you're doing, bro. You know, when you are interviewing people from our world, it's such a different thing when somebody from our world is talking to the people, and you're adding great value to that station. Again, shout out to the homie Cavario on that. When you said New York hustlers, it made
absolutely that brother for sure. You know, thank God for him, man.
Yeah, and we gonna do some linking up very soon. Very soon.
But I was talking about that raid.
Okay.
This is in the late 2000s, right? So the guy hyped me up. He said, "Man, it's about $2 to $5 million worth of drugs in there." Of course, me a little slow. Didn't know the peel game had slipped right up on our nose. We chasing cocaine and heroin, like. Man, we went in that house.
It's a new Boston town.
Listen here, man.
Yeah.
Mad than a motherfucker. We went in there, man. There was like 5 guys in there. Didn't find a bit of cocaine. I called the man up. I said, "You dirty motherfucker." He said, "Man, what are you talking about?" I said, "Man, ain't shit in here." He said, "I just left it. I just left that crib, man. It's a bunch of shit in there." You know what he was talking about?
Them pills.
Yeah, we was looking for cocaine. We had pounds and pounds of pills, man. We didn't even know what the fuck it was.
Pounds of pills.
Pounds and pounds of pills, man. We gave all them motherfuckers misdemeanor tickets.
I know they love y'all that.
Yeah, he said, "You dumb, stupid." He said, "You call it."
So I remember about that era, because I pretty much by 2001 it transitioned out the street. Maybe it was still dibbling and dabbling, but by 2002, I met Lou. He came and helped me show a new way with a pair of pants. Shout out to Lou Norway, right? With me and Lou crossed. About when I opened up the store at Fairlane, I had really pretty much
got out of it.
I come to the conclusion what we did. Lord knows what we didn't make, because you had asked me a question, and I'll be real. I'll still tell the answer to the family out there. I told to you. You said you asked me if I've been a millionaire in life, and I said, and if I've been broke in life, I've said I've been a millionaire 3 different times in life. I've gone broke 3 different times in life. By 2002, I realized what we didn't save, what we squandered, what we jacked off, that it got too late in the game to go do 20 years.
I know that's why.
And it was time to do something different. And the twos and fews we had put aside and some of the assets we'd accumulated over the years, that's got to be good enough.
We all here, brother.
And we here
for sure.
And so many people along that journey ain't here.
Yeah.
So I was going somewhere with this. Coming back to the appeal thing that I was speaking about, the youth at the same time when I was transitioning out the street and had that epiphany that it was time to get out the street. But I was still, just the world I come from. And so the guys were starting to tell me, they were, "Oh, big homie, man, we just went down to West Virginia, yeah, we doing this, we doing that, we going to Kentucky, and then they were telling me, and at first, so I'm like you, they telling me I'm from the heroin cocaine era, and then I'm like, there ain't no money here. What the fuck? I'm like that. So then the nephews start telling me the money. They were like, "No, man, we just came back from Kentucky. We had $155,000. I said, "Hold on, say that again now." He's like, "Well, man, we made $155,000
in a weekend."
Yeah.
I said, "But right." They're like, "I like, but homie, you left Thursday, nephew. It's Tuesday."
We didn't see, because we weren't talking about the narcotics division. We wasn't hip to the pill game like that. You hear me? Here in Detroit, they would take them and take them down south. So when they come back, they wasn't like that cocaine that kind of swayed away from that cocaine thing, and it wasn't like prominent like it was. You know what I'm saying?
And I think what it seems like happened, because a lot of them were still some guys that were transitioning out of heroin and cocaine into pills, right? But then that next generation after them started actually using the pills.
But it goes back to that integration thing. White people have always done harder drugs than black people.
Always.
And when you start partying with them, you start doing what they do. And they've been having pill parties since I was in high school.
Well, you speak for yourself.
I mean, what you
Say, because I'm
You want-
next. I ain't reading them.
the private school kids are getting so much higher than the public school kids.
But now with
It's prevalent.
everything is crossing over now. Like there's no more big division between private school kids, public school kids, white kids, black kids. It's all integrated, especially with social media. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you would change schools and lose half of your friends. Now you don't do that.
I never thought about
That's
that.
right.
That's a big deal.
You know, you're a smart gal.
You should become a lawyer. You could be a lawyer. You know that?
No, he's about a judge.
A judge, all right?
That's the next step for y'all, Damien.
Good, because we need some people like you because, but yeah, and so bouncing back to that integration thing, or lack their integration. People used to, when you had a community and you see somebody, I just can't imagine back in the day, one of the kids popping pills and nobody in the neighborhood saying, hey, what they doing down at that house?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's something that for us all to ask ourselves, what has happened to our community that we've gotten so okay that we turn a blind eye to what is obvious, GQ, right? These kids are out there.
Well, it's kind of an evolution, right? Because back in the day, even if you sold drugs, you couldn't sell it in your neighborhood. Then it became cool to sell in your neighborhood, but not in front of your mama's house. Then there was that one house that you could do everything at. You could sell at, use drugs at, and then slowly but surely those houses became a block.
Became the block.
And then those blocks became a neighborhood. And so now that's the new community.
I'm after that. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of folks. I'm an inner city. I'm born and raised Monterey and Dexter. You know, a lot of those who made it.
Shout out to YBI.
Oh, yeah, I just talked to Timmy today.
No, shout out to Slim.
Yeah, Kurt McGregor, all them guys. Yeah, sure, up.
Yeah.
Man, when for those that went to college, see, the hood guys, children, we didn't know nothing about that. But how many times you often hear or have heard somebody drop a Mickey in his or her drink? A lot of that shit come from college.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it filtered right back into the hood. They say, hey,
Yeah.
man, you know, because college, you know, your psychic and your culture, you see so much. It's different from being in there. Because when you're in the hood, you're restricted to certain things, right?
Yeah, and to your point, you know, you go away to college, you get high,
Yeah.
you come back to the neighborhood, you run into the dope man, you ask him, hey, you got this? What is that? Now he going to go
That's
find it.
right. That's right.
And he gonna send something back.
That's how that shit works.
Now you got people getting kicked out of school because they want to hustle. So
that's right.
Their habit.
Demetrius Gould.
It's all kind of cycle.
To score a hell of a basketball player.
Hey.
On that note, Big Man on Campus also available on Amazon, which is the story. But it's about my character based on me in college who went away to school, and then all the kids were getting high.
Right. See that?
Then I said to myself, you guys are buying very expensive, low quality drugs, and I can help you guys. I can help. But with that, so many brothers in that 80s going to college end up getting caught up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys that were good kids.
White County.
In those white county, Kalamazoo and Ingham County. Kalamazoo County. And I literally, as Losers heard the story a million times.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because it was always keep that shit in Detroit with them niggas.
So, I mean, literally, I had this conversation with my friends in Kalamazoo, and then when I transferred, I said, "Hey, fellas," because they started coming just like I'm dressed now, like wearing chains and why, and I would say, "Hey, man, we not back home, y'all." I said, "We not back home. Y'all can't carry it like that." I mean, they was coming to the campus bars, pulling out knots, and I said, "Hey, man."
And already bad.
And a brother told me, say, man, next year you ain't gonna have all the business to yourself. I said, no, you're gonna have it because I'm not doing nothing up here no more because you guys
fuck it up.
Y'all made it hot up here.
Right, yeah.
And they was like, you gonna give up all that money? I was like, bruh,
I got to.
I've been around the corner.
Native Detroit is wherever we go, we blow the fucking spot up.
Man, because we overdo it. Same way she said about that first date. We gotta overdo it. You couldn't just take it to Outback. No, you had to take it first day. We going to the Whitney, baby. Then we going to the club. We going shopping. We drinking champagne day one.
It's like
that's why we gotta blow up the spot.
yeah, if you go out of town, I'm just saying, if you go out of town and you see that one person, especially depending on the age, if they're a little older and they match from head to toe in one color,
Sure.
especially they accent it with some gators that are matching hat.
You already know. We gonna be coordinated.
So y'all, where y'all need to be. Detroit is for sure. Let's just tone it down a little bit. Be cool a little bit. Be cool.
Who we got there? You know, we do this live. Let's see. Is that one of your people?
Yeah.
Okay, let them in.
So,
Oh, yeah, all right, that's a good thing. Yeah. We I think it's a whole city too. When we talk about the immigrants, you know, what's happening, fam?
the guy dressed up. Look at
Detroiter. We already know where you're from. Cartier's, Montclair, Gucci. Where else that nigga from? Where else he from? Where else that nigga from? That nigga from Detroit. If he ain't from here, he's a liar. And he's a liar. And the truth ain't in him.
Shout out to you, homeboy.
Yeah, you represent that
for sure.
Yeah. But you know, it's a down south town.
Yeah, it is.
You know, came from down south. And
That's why they got that from.
they come from
Yeah.
down south.
New York says y'all country.
We country. But
A little bit.
But because of the factory jobs they came up here for, they blacks end up doing really well.
Very well.
This is not so.
Very well.
By the time we even came along, GQ brothers expected to do well and to look well, and we was gonna do well and
Good mothers.
good mothers,
Fathers.
real community. And because they had that down south community,
Yeah.
you know, we were saying, and then, you know, I know some of the young people out there, it ain't nothing square about church and community, you know. And again, that's where I'm coming from, you know.
Right.
I ain't telling you don't sell. I ain't telling you to do or not do anything, but I'm gonna say what the old folks used to tell me: it ain't what you do,
It's how you do.
it is how you.
Same thing with corn liquor. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Down
A lot of
south.
brothers made a lot of money.
Ain't that motherfucker cool?
Liquor, and we been getting money down south. You know, they used to call the black number man. He was the worst thing in the world. Even
I
though
can't.
he's the one that financed half these churches.
Yes.
Right? We were talking about the Holy Trinity, right? The number man, the preacher, and the funeral parlor. And if you talk to some of the people in this town, when you drive by whether it be the Swansons or Diggs, or ask them the history, Coles, ask them the history of those 4 or 5 generations.
Right.
You're gonna find the number man story. Because
We're gonna have them come on the show.
who used to Miss Jones was a good member of the community. She didn't transition. We ain't got no money to put her away. Who the family go talk to?
The number man.
No,
Or the number.
But you know,
Yeah.
they not even had to even call. Because he or she may have just said, hey, look here, I heard what
you
happened.
wasn't gonna have to call. I already know what your situation is. I'm here to pay my condolences and slide the family an envelope. You know, it Pops and Eddie and them back in their day. It was no. If somebody done bought dope for you for 20 years, and they family passed, and you know better than anybody what the situation in the house is,
Why not?
and you guess what, family? Yeah, back in the day, that service was on you.
Not.
No, the fellas go. Somebody's going. It's gonna be a talk. It's gonna be a talk. Hey man, you know, your people down there. You got to take care of that.
You gotta take care.
You got to take care of that.
Fine.
They really used to be, and that's all some of the stuff we lost.
You know, man, it's politics in everything that we do. That's a way of life. It's personal affairs. That's all this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Personal affairs. I can call you CB Jr., Dana, I can call you. You can call me. Say, hey, man, I'm in the jam. Can you help me? Are you willing to help me? That's all this is. Everything in life, and we got to get back into that.
Well, I think that still goes on. I just think some people, I don't want to say throw rocks and hide your hands because that's not quite it. But it's like some people put on a public front, but then they're doing private deals that don't really go with the public agenda. And I think when you continue to do that, eventually the public agenda just goes to shit.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Oh, yeah, we cuss on here. No cussing on this motherfucking platform. That shit. So with that, we had two cities seem like to me. And people, I was just recently when I moved from the riverfront, I tell people I live down the riverfront, they'd be like, you don't live in Detroit. We're like, it's off Jefferson. They'd be like, but that ain't Detroit. And I'm like, well, I got a store, I got all...
Livonia is not Detroit.
Right. But...
I'm not even South here, actually.
We might as well just bring it up. So I was saying on my way here, I passed by 4 different police cars. Both police cars had 2 white gentlemen, 2 officers in there. And I was coming from basically like Brightmoor through the back door to get here on 7 Mile. So these are not the integrated parts of the city. This is not Midtown, or downtown, or even the North End. So, where are we headed in this town if we're gonna have people from outside the community doing all the policing of the community?
I think it's gonna go right back to right before the riots, back in the '60s.
Big 4 days. We headed back to the big 4. We strapped.
Well, I don't know about riots like that because I don't think people. I hate to say it, but I don't think this community is as passionate as that one. So I don't think it'll necessarily come to that.
Right.
But I do think there is going to be a big division between residents of Detroit and police officers in Detroit. And I think that happened when you got rid of the residency requirement.
Definitely.
I think when you had police who had to live in the city that they policed, they cared more and their approach to things were different. Because now I'm dealing with my neighbor, not just some case number or some random individual.
Throughout most of your career, there was the residency requirement. When we say resident requirement, I mean if you were a fireman.
Dennis Archer and Governor Engler
ended that.
Yep. And that was a demise of the city, man. And I and nothing to say bad about Dennis Archer at all.
No, in fact, shout out to the son. It's a friend of mine.
Right.
Good guy, Dennis. Shout out to Dennis Jr.
Time that there were a lot of the officers, and they found it unconstitutional.
The requirement
to live in wherever you work. So
they've done some things to try to sweeten it, haven't they? You get some tax breaks or something.
Not enough, man. It's the school system. So, that's a lot of cops' kids. And I ain't trying to, not kids, but children are bad, man. We're bad, are bad. Tell you what I know. For real. So a lot of, they fled. And, Coleman Young, may God rest his soul, he had that residency unit. He catch you outside that city, you live outside that city, he'll fire you.
I remember back in the day, it was always a good thing to have a cop who lived on your block because that meant there would be a police car there.
All the time.
So you're the chances of right, often. But the B&E man's not coming on the street where you see the police car.
Right.
You just don't work that way.
Yeah, I just James Craig, I retired up under him. I really don't know him at all, but up under him, it's been an influx of white officers coming on the gig, and I don't know why that is. However, from what I've heard, that the criteria of black folks coming on the job is high. Smoking weed and all that type of stuff. Some things that domestic violence, misdemeanor tickets, but they hold it so high, man, that people are really don't want to come on the job. So they need to change that a little bit. They have to. They have to because there's not enough of us.
So our plan. So what do we got to do so that more of our young ladies want to grow up to be intelligent, beautiful Black women and become lawyers, to actually attempt to do your best to serve the community, and our young men to know that it is. I mean, I come from a generation where you guys wanted to become policemen.
Police, fire, lawyers, doctors.
I mean, yeah, that's because those were things that you knew you could have a long career and be able to provide for your family.
And a pension.
There was a pension. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can make a movie. I was like,
If they can do it.
if they can do this and it's at Blockbuster. Now, I know nothing about cinematography or nothing. I just watch movies, right? I know nothing about it. I know nothing that you have any interest in films.
No, we were in clothes,
We were
garments.
deep into the retail world and on a whole different grind.
A gentleman in some expensive clothes approached me and said, I'm Courtney Robert Brown Jr., et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, fast forward 11 years, and we own the $20 million block, French Road and Mac. And this is just another chapter in a lot of really powerful content me and him have done, and talking about the 40-year saga of his and other families here in Detroit doing illegal things and legal things.
You can't talk about that era without talking about the biggest real name of that era, at least around here, meaning where he was in Southfield,
Right.
without talking about Eddie and Courtney.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew about Eddie and Courtney from reading that famous front page story in the newspaper from my research, but I didn't really know the ins and outs or the particulars. And he started to school me on it. So then when I had an opportunity to hook up with the real deal Holyfield, it's like they're gonna color it up even more. And
The rest became history. So.